Hello, and welcome back to the Ginger Racing Show. Me and Liam decided to do a Breeders' Cup special. This is going to be 20 minutes, half an hour for everyone who calls loves the flat, which we do. Um, Liam, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, mate. All good. How are you, Jay?
Not too bad. All we're going to do, lads, is we're going to do all the turf races if we can, the sprints, all the turf races. We'll briefly go on the classic, which is in the dirt. Uh, we're going to try to stay away from the dirt racing because we don't have a clue, unfortunately. But we said we do this because I like the Breeders' Cup. Liam, I think you'll agree with me.
Yeah, no, I certainly do enjoy it. I always get sucked in, Jamie, every year into having a few bets as well. And then
Mm.
at the end of the evening, I always think, why did I bother? But hopefully, I have actually put three up over at Odds Checker this week, and I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully this year I'll fare a bit better, mate.
Lovely. So we're going to crack on fairly sharpish. So we're going to cover Friday and Saturday. So there's a couple of turf races. They're all juveniles on the Friday. Is the 21:45, which is a quarter to 10 British time. Is the Breeders' Cup juvenile turf sprint over 5 furlongs, and the favourite for Aidan O'Brien is the 130 favourite in True Love. Schwarzenegger is 7 to 1, Brussels is 8, Havana Anna is 8 to 1, 10 to 1, Military Code 7 number 7 in the race is Missing Central at 10 to 1. Fair is 12 and 12 to 1 bar. Liam, we'll crack on with this. Two good Aidan O'Brien horses. They've been drawn 8 and 6, I think. True Love is 8. Mission Central is 6. Great winner of the Cheveley Park True Love. Mission Central, a good winner of the that 2 euro race they introduced. Royal Ascot, Champions Day at Ascot. Is it between the O'Brien horse?
Quite possibly. I did just want to touch, Jay, on the draw because I think a lot's been made of it. And then I started looking into some of the statistics around being drawn high and kind of what that means. Obviously, specifically at Del Mar, with obviously the Breeders' Cup being a bit of a touring meeting around the US. And I actually came across an article on Racing TV, so obviously need to shout out the fact that some
Mm.
of this has been plagiarised. But I thought it was really interesting, given the fact that once they changed the turf track in 2016, the results have kind of changed. There's quotes from Frankie Dettori suggesting, look, if you're drawn higher than 5, you've got absolutely no chance, irrespective of distance. However, since they did change the turf course. So for the last two meetings, not including last year, but for the two since 2016, you had horses hitting the frame from 7 on one occasion, from 8 twice, from 9 on two occasions, from 10 on one occasion, three times from stall 11, three times from stall 12, and once from stall 14. And then we look back at last year and you had Omri Matisse, who was a winner from 13, Rebels Romance from 11, Moira from 10, Tis Quantum from 14, Rakia from 10, and of course Sierra Leone on the dirt in the big one from gate 11. So I don't think it's the be all and end all, and it's not basically game over
Mm-hmm.
if you aren't drawn low. I'm sure that a couple that we'll get onto, Aidan would have much preferred that they aren't drawn last of the lot in the field. In this field, in particular, I do like Mission Central. His return
Mm-hmm.
to form the last day, as you mentioned, Jay. I thought is a really encouraging run. I think potentially coming across here, he would be tempting to play. And the other one is Lenilu, who finished behind True Love at Royal Ascot. However, what progression that she's shown since then, who knows? I suppose. Look, I'm not an avid watcher of American racing or even global racing in particular. However, has won on her next two starts, and if I were to have a bet in here, I'd play both of those, play those pair in stall 7 and 12, Mission Central and Lenilu. Win only, and I play those two against the field and Dutch them. It's a little bit chancy, slightly guessy, but I think that I would potentially collect from one of those 10 to 1 and 12 to 1. That's the way that I'll be playing this if I were to be having a speculative bet on Friday evening. What about yourself?
Oh, I think you're totally right because of the way the sire. I'm not into sires, you know me. I'm not into breeding and all that. I don't mention that when I'm tipping horses, but I totally agree to it. Like, I think Missing Central drawn in six. I know Wayne Lordan's picked True Love, and he's every right to, and she is a good horse, but she should be in the six furlong race. You know, the juvenile fillies turf, whatever they call it. I'm surprised they're both going in the same race, but Mission Central, by no name never, American Sire. The faster ground, the better it is. If it gets out in the front end, Dylan Brown McMonagall, fair play to him, is now crowned champion jockey in Ireland. I'm surprised Lord hasn't gone in Mission Central. Maybe because of one Ascot, maybe down the line needs six furlongs. But I think this is a horse that's going to turn out to be a sprint god, hopefully, because it's a gelding. It was gelded as a 2-year-old. It doesn't happen that often when it comes to Aidan O'Brien horses. So they know it's not going to be Sire. So it's going to go globe trotting, and that's what they're doing. But you know yourself, Liam, when it comes to American racing, and this is for fans that don't know enough about American racing, you have to get out and you have to sustain it all the way. Look, five furlongs is five furlongs, but you know, in American racing, you have to go get out quick. If he gets out quick, I think he's a cracking bitty trade 10 to 1. So it'll be missing central for me too.
Happy days, happy days. Jay, obviously we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to the 11:05 p.m. Of course, the juvenile fillies turf with precise drawn 13 of 13. Just out of interest, mate, do you think that some of these O'Brien horses will essentially be shorter than they should be, given the fact that Ryan Moore's not there to ride any of them? Do you think that should be a consideration for anybody backing anything at Del Mar over the course of the weekend?
Mm, you need a lot of luck at Delmar. It's very sharp, and down into the top end, there's a steep hill coming around. So you have to be in position, regardless of. I remember what was the one he won at Augusta
And do
Road.
you think that potentially that's the best thing that Ryan Moore does? He's always in the right spot,
Yeah,
isn't he?
but Augusta Road won the Santa Anita, and he got up the inside.
Yes, true.
That's
Yeah.
a different track, where Delamar is all turns, twists, bends. You have to get out. You have to get your position early,
Mm.
unless there's an absolute pace collapse. To be honest with you, Liam, you're not going to get there. You're just not. You have to be in the right position at the right time. That's American race in a nutshell.
Fair enough. So it's not a massive disadvantage given the fact that Ryan's not there.
No, no, but like 5 to 4 precise, who won the Phillies mile at Newmarket, and 7 to 1 the rest of the field, tells a tale in itself. But
Mm.
she's drawn out in the car park, and you have to get very lucky. I know Similian's on it. Why isn't Similian on True Love or Missing Central in the first race? Do you know what I mean? On the turf. But after that, Precise is so far clear in ratings. But could I tip up a horse to say that'll beat it, even though she's drawn 13? I can't. She's 5 to 4 for a reason. If anyone
Would
can
you
think,
would you lay her, Jamie, or not?
no, because I think she's really
No.
good.
Fair enough. Okay, no. So obviously, yeah, as you mentioned, precise 5 to 4. What I'm currently looking at: Time to Dream sevens, ground support 14s, as is Imagination the Lady, Queen of Hawaii, and then 16 to 1 bar. Is there anything else you could make a case for in that case, Jamie, based on the draw,
No,
or but anything
there's
else you've
not, Liam,
seen? No,
because it's such a tough race, because there's a lot of ones next to all these horses. Um,
don't know where the ceiling is for a lot of them, do we?
no, you just don't see it. So it's just one of them. I mean, like, if Precise was drawn 7 or 8, she'd be odds on.
Yeah, no,
And
fair enough.
she's
It'll be a race that I'll be leaving alone myself as well, mate. I'm not sure if you got anything more to add on this one.
no, no. We'll move on to the 25 past 12. The 1st of November is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf over a mile. The favourite, and we're going to say the same thing about Gestad when it comes to precise. Drawn 14 of 14, and it's still 5 to 4 on the best odds, and a 7 to 1 to field again. Outfielder for Wesley Ward 7 to 1. Bottas for Miguel Clement is 11 to 1. 16 to 1 bar. Super Sumi would want to be an absolute monster here, Liam. 5 to 4. We know Gestad is so far clear in ratings, but I think we're going to have to move on. Do you know anything each way against Gestad here?
No, and look,
Mm,
I'm not gonna belittle or suggest that I've seen all the rest in this field run at any given point either.
mm,
Yeah, not enough information. But this is the sort of race potentially just I don't know, out of interest
mm,
or whatnot that potentially I may sit there and have a bet in, but
mm.
absolutely not this year. Learn from your mistakes. A couple of years ago, I definitely would have done so. But yeah, no, this is one I'll be passing over. Um, yeah, Gustad, as you say, drawing the car park again. Be interesting to see how he gets on. But yeah, there's no betting here for me, mate.
Same as, same as. So when we move on to the Saturday night, it's the 1941, which is 7:41 p.m. British time. It's the Pervagan Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint over 5 furlongs, and the favourite is Notorious at fours, Ag Bullet fives, Arizona Blaze for Adrian Murray sevens, Reef Runner is 10 to 1, Buchanan Fuente, who's great for good sprinter at the car, is 11 to 1. Kadim is a horse at 16 to 1. Frankie is booked for Charlie Hills. He's drawn four of the whole field. Liam, would he interest you, or are we going to move on to this? Because I was struggling in this race too.
A couple of points to make. Yeah, Cardem was
Mm,
interesting, just given the fact he's a 9-year-old. He's still on the go. Frankie was on board last time out at Keeneland and obviously won on him. Yeah, it'd be a great story given the fact the horse is still knocking around and sprinting at his age. I'm not sure what you would make of the booking and his chances yourself, Jay. But also, do you know why American Affair isn't here?
Where is American Fair, Liam? Where is he? The horse that
Because
you
I thought he
tipped
was
up
put
to win.
away with the intention to
Yeah,
come
yeah, yeah.
across
I
here
thought he
for
would be
this.
too, to be honest with you. I thought he would be too. But he hasn't been seen since Ascot, isn't he? Ascot.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, he quite literally hasn't. No,
and nobody's even talking about him. And he was a good winner of the King Stands, I always call it. I don't know.
King Charles, is it King
King
Charles?
Charles, yeah, King Stands, I always used to call it. But do you know what I mean? I don't understand it. I don't know where it is. But geez, the sprint division is on its knees. I think the best sprinter we've seen for a long time before the sprint division was on its knees is Batash.
Mm,
It's been a poor year when it could. They're all beating each other. It's just one of those. But American Fair, I just don't understand it. I don't know where he is, but they might just be
no,
saving him for
normally.
next year. Maybe
Yeah,
because
quite
the
possibly.
sprint division is that bad. Maybe they're just thinking leave him alone because no one's saying he's injured. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
just leave
yeah.
him alone for a year, and he had his day. And look, maybe he should be back next year. So we'll see about it. But we'll swiftly move on to a race that I really like. Um, Possibly one of the greatest races I ever seen on the flat was when High Chaparral was beaten by Joe Hart and Falbrev at Santa Anita all those years ago when he was going for back to back Breeders' Cup turfs. So 21:41, which is 9:41 p.m. British time. And the favourite is the second in the arc at 11 to 10. Mini Hawk, drawn 8 of 8. Rebels Romance is 130. Goliath, former King George winner for France at 10 to 1. Amelot, a winner of Royal Ascot, 16 to 1. And 20 to 1 Bar. Is it just simple? Mini Hawk, or is Rebels Romance, excuse me, drawn 1 to 1? Is it going to
I'm not
really?
sure, Jay.
Yeah, yeah.
He's an international jet setter, isn't he? Rebels
Mm,
Romance. He's won in multiple countries, all around the globe, in various different continents, and fantastic horse. But I think when he comes up against whether it be one or two in a
mm,
field where they're proper kind of top notchers, he just doesn't quite manage to get the job done. Which you shouldn't really have a go at the horse or have a dig at him, given what he's achieved. I think looking at the Wimbledon Hawkeye, I think needs very, very soft going. Obviously, he's going to get rattling quick ground here. I couldn't be having him at 20 to 1. No way. Ethical Diamond. Would you put it past Willie Mullins?
but
Who
the only
knows
thing
whether
is, Liam, he's drawn 14 to 14 as well.
yeah, he is very true. Um, but who knows where the ceiling is with this also? He's
Mm,
just continued to progress on the flat this season, hasn't he?
mm,
And been really, really impressive. Rashabar would catch my eye at 33 to 1 as an each way bet. Again, drawn slightly high, but as I mentioned with the statistics earlier, it's not the be all and end all if you are drawn high. You would think that Mini Hawk is just too good for the rest of this field, and the draw's not horrific. But I would be willing, I think, to take a stab at either Amalok or at Rashabar as each way selections, but not a huge amount of conviction. And I know people watching might be thinking, well, the lads aren't putting anything up here,
Yeah,
but for the next three races, I do have genuine,
yeah.
decent propositions as bets. But yeah, tentatively those pair each way if somebody wanted to throw a bit of spare change at a couple of horses for interest.
Yeah, I think I'd have been. I'm the same as you, Liam. I think I'd have been all over Red was Romance if it wasn't drawn one, because it's going to have to get out and then set the fractions, because that's what it does in American racing. If Mini Hawk gets over the arc, 11 to 10 is skimpy, but I think she needs better ground. But like she would have won the arc if it was a little bit better ground, and I think she didn't like the soft ground in the arc. So I'm not going to
But
say
you
she's
think she needs something between the ground she's going to get
yeah,
here and what
yeah,
she
yeah,
would have
hundred
got at the
percent.
art?
And
Yeah.
look, I don't think like I know she's a filly, she's getting weight, but they would absolutely ruin the horse. Do you know what I mean? They know what they're doing. She might come back again. She might be retired after this because she's going to be a fantastic broodmare. But I think she'll win this because I think the better ground, the better her chance. And if she gets out, as I said, I'm stressing this with American racing. You got to get out and get position early because I know William Buick is going to have to get out of one and set the fractions. If she tracks Rebel Romance, she'll beat her. She will absolutely wipe the floor in the straight. I know it's a short straight at Delmar, but she'll get there, and I think she'll win. I know it's unoriginal, but I think she'll win. She's by far the best horse over a mile and a half, and hopefully she will win. Right,
Happy
we
days.
we will go to the 22:25. It's a 25 past 10. It's the race that everybody wants to watch around the world. It's the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic over a mile and two. And the favourite for Godolphin, drawn 6 of 6, is Sovereignty at 7 to 4. Fierceness is 5. Sierra Leone, is 5 to 1, is last year's winner. Forever Young is 8. Mine for him is 10s. Journalism is 12s. Bayeza is 16 to 1. Liam, do you have a fancy against Sovereignty? But we'll stress this. It came out in the media today that Sovereignty has a temperature or a fever, or whatever. Hopefully it makes the race. I think if it makes the race and it's a full clean bit of health, Sovereignty is the best dirt horse over 10 furlongs in the world. Correct me if I'm wrong, Liam.
No, I don't think you are wrong. I do think the likelihood of the horse turning up here is obviously massively in jeopardy. I think it was given some sort of veterinary care to basically lower the temperature.
Mm.
And if once that wears off, the temperature spikes again and returns to some sort of fever, then the horse will be pulled and game over. But I think you'd be slightly concerned anyhow, given the fact that evidently the horse isn't A1. Sierra Leone obviously upset the apple cart to a degree last year
With
when
City
everyone
of
had
Troy.
eyes on City of Troy, and then in the same ownership, Sierra Leone goes and wins that race. This race. Journalism. If you're just somebody who's superstitious and you just don't want to listen to us waffle on, well, his form is 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So that means the next number that comes is one. There you are. There's your selection. However, a little bit more analysis than that. And Forever Young, who was third in this last year, I think there's a little bit of sentiment there from my perspective. We know how much Japanese owners and Japan as a whole is throwing at racing in terms of trying to build their own product and trying to win the big European contests and obviously these in America. So I've sided with Forever Young, had a prep race on the 1st of October, won that pretty comfortably after finishing disappointingly third when beaten odds on at the back end of his season. So I've sided with Forever Young, who will evidently be far shorter should Sovereignty come out of the betting. And he was put up as an Ante-Post bet at 8 to 1, the same price that's currently available now. And I think potentially could go a couple of places better. Needs obviously a decent pace to aim at, but if he gets that, drawn in 5, I think Forever Young could go a couple of places better. And and all of Japan as well as me are saying that. I probably won't be watching it. I'll be asleep. We'll be celebrating if he does get his head in front.
It's funny you should mention journalism. Um, Look, to be honest with you, regardless of temperature or not, if Sovereignty runs, I think it'll win because I think it's the best. But because it's won the Pacific Classic over course and distance 10 furlongs, it gave journalism £6 the last day fierceness for Todd Pletcher and Johnny Velasquez. It's only given it £4 this time in the Classic. I don't know why they're giving £4. It should be all off the same weight. It's a Breeders' Cup Classic. He beat him by 3 1/4 lengths and absolutely romped him over
It's
course.
just weight for age, I think, Jay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's way for age. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
To be, I always thought because the fast pace that Sierra Leone won last year and caught out City Troy and the whole lot, but Sovereignty is the best. But 5 to 1 at the moment, if you want to back it Ante-Post, because there'd be no rule four, I think because the way he won the Pacific Classic over course and distance, fierceness at 5 to 1. I can't see it out of the first three. And if you're an each way backer to get your even money, 50 yards, it's up to you. Sierra Leone's a different. It's the same track. Obviously, he won last year. He needs absolute pace collapses because of it's just the way American racing is on the dirt. Um, for every young, I won't disagree with you, but because it's course and distance for me in America, so fierceness for me at 5 to 1. If Sovereignty doesn't turn up, so we'll move on to a race that it's been very profitable for me over the years. A French
Oh, we'll
horse,
definitely start with you then, Jay.
yeah,
What wins it?
a French horse, a French horse came over years ago called Six Perfections, and we backed it. It was second in the Guineas in Newmarket. It won at the end of the season, and it's the 23:05, 11:05 p.m. British time at Del Mar is the Breeders' Cup Mile. The third in the race last year turns up. Horse for Godolphin won at Woodbine the last day, and 9 to 4. Notable speech, the former 2000 Guineas winner. Celan for Francis Henri Graffard is 7 to 1. The line in winter is sevens. Johannes, who was second in the race last year, is 10 to 1, drawn 7. Formidable Man is tens, and it's 10 to 1 bar. Liam, I think it's quite simple. It's a 2 horse race. Am I talking gibberish?
Um, I don't think you'll be talking gibberish, but I don't think you're going to agree with my angle into the race. I've gone back towards the start of the season, I have, Jay, and looking at a horse who I think has been campaigned quite poorly. I think they've experimented too much, changed his trip far too regularly, and eventually, when he's got very quick ground, he's actually raced with a little bit of firm in the go in, gone from the front, which you need to break, of course, at Del Mar, as you've already mentioned on numerous occasions. If he does that and stays, he's got the form from earlier in the season when he was beaten ahead by Henri Matisse,
Oh, I knew you
was
said Jonquil.
was in front of Camille Pissarro and beaten the horse I think that you're going to put up, who's obviously second in the betting at 7 to 1 for Michael Barcelona and Graffard, Salan had finished 4 lengths ahead of him.
You'll be wrong
He's
there, though.
he's he's been sent over to America early. He's had a run over there. I think he'll love the rattling quick ground. If he can break, which he'll need to from stall 10, I think John Quill is overpriced. And I've played him as an each way bet in this at 14 to 1. And I think the fact that they took him back to 6 furlongs was a little bit daft. And eventually, when he stepped up to the mile at Goodwood and he got proper decent ground before the heavens opened, he was a decent winner there. That form won't read overly well. Like, it's not groundbreaking. However, I think that there's still more to come from him, and hopefully he can run a career best here. The only one I would give a mention to, Jay, is the line in Winter's getting better and better with every single run that he runs. I won't put anybody off him. But no, go on. It's a 2 horse race in your mind.
Well, if you look back at the race last year, Liam, I had a monster bet on Notable Speech. He's drawn, I think he was drawn 2 or 3 that day. But look back at it, he never got out. He just didn't get out. And to be honest, if he gets out this time and settles better, because look back at the Woodbine race, he didn't get out either, and still won. Look, Canadian racing, you know yourself, it's easy Group Ones for Charlie Appleby. No offense to Canadian racing, but it's there for a reason. Look back at the race last year. If he gets out, he should win. And the only danger is the one that was ahead of it is Johannes for Umberto Rispoli and Kim Yakteen. I've never heard of him before in my life. But Johannes was ahead of Notable Speech last year, drawn the same, 6 and 7 like last year. Was beaten ahead by the winner. I can't think of the name of the winner. But I think it's between the two of them. So, win purposes, I love Notable Speech. I backed it to win the Guineas that time. I think it's between Notable Speech and Johannes each way on the form from last year's race. Just go back, watch it's on YouTube. Just type in the Breeders' Cup mile, and you see what I'm talking about. If Notable Speech got out, it would have won. He had to go all the way around. He stumbled. No, he didn't stumble, but he just didn't get out. And if he gets out, I think he's just by far the best horse in this race. But it's win only for Notable Speech for me and Johannes each way for me. So the last race, I think we said, Liam. I think we
It
said
is indeed, yes.
uh, a good race for me over the years as well. The Fillies and Mares Turf. Go back to Kieran Fallon and Ouija board is it sticks out of my head, and Frankie won on it as well. It's the 25 past 12, which we're into Sunday morning. And the favourite at the moment and the best right joint favourite for France is Gazora, who was down the field in the Arc at 9 to 2. See the Fire for Andrew Balling at 9 to 2. Cinderella's Dream is 5. She Feels Pretty 11 to 2. 8 to 1 Diamond Rain, and 14 to 1 Bedtime Story. If you think Bedtime Story is going to win this game, I'm going to absolutely stop the recording and I'm going home.
Right,
And he's going to say a bedtime story.
you best press pause because I have put her up. I'm keeping the faith, Jamie. I really am. I really like the quotes that came out from Aidan earlier in the week, and he said the fact that she'd raced on kind of proper quick ground on just the one occasion, was a winner, albeit in lesser company, but in her juvenile season. And I think she's just been really unlucky on a few occasions this season. She finished one length, obviously, behind Jazora over in France. She was then given an awful lot to do on her next start, or a couple of starts later when finishing third. Obviously, I know that she likes being kind of held up and being delivered late, and that's her kind of running style. But I just think there's a day in this horse. And the fact that Aidan came out and said, I would not be surprised for you to, if she were to put a career best together this weekend. Obviously, he's going to be quite bullish about most of his runners. Of course, he is. However, I can see that coming to fruition as well. I just don't think that she's achieved what she should have on the track. She's given an awful lot to do the last couple of starts. I backed her over in France on Arc Day, or was it the day after? I can't remember. But again, just held up way too far off the pace for her to deliver any sort of challenge at the business end. And I think Bedtime Story, we've not seen the best of her at all. Now, a career best, maybe a fourth place in this, mightn't it? Like with the quality that's within the field. But I think potentially would have preferred a slightly more favourable draw, although I've tried to dispel that myth already. But I think the Bedtime Story is overpriced at the 16s, 14s that is knocking around for us an each way bet. Just the one dart for Aidan in this whole field, and it is her. And as much as I know that you'll disagree, mate, Bedtime Story is an each way bet for me in this.
Yeah. See the Fire is your horse. To me, she ran well, obviously, in the Prix de l'Opera in Arctic. Gazora was down the field, drawn very well. Gazora, not being smart, 5 of 5. But it's the horse that finished ahead of Bedtime Story in the Prix Jean Romane. It's Godolphin. To me, I know she's probably a better miler, but she needs rattling fast ground. She won the Falmouth on rattling fast ground at Newmarket, and at 5 to 1, I think the bet of the whole meeting is Cinderella's Dream. I struggled after Gestad and Precise being drawn in the car park to find what's the best bet of the whole weekend. It's the last race of the whole weekend that everyone's going to say, "Oh, I've lost everything. I hope Jamie Wrenn's right. I hope he's talking nonsense."
Well,
But
just everyone just needs to keep all their money in their pocket
yeah,
until the last, don't they? So basically, stay up for 2 days until the early hours and
she's
wait for
drawn
Cinderella's
nine
Dream.
nine, which is hopefully the best. Hopefully it's a good draw. Um, bedtime stories on her outside 11 of the whole lot. I think because it's different. I know she's probably a better miler, but it's 10 furlongs at Delmar. She'd probably get away with it. The faster the ground, the better she is, and 5 to 1, I think she'll win.
Would you
Hopefully,
even bother with the each way part of the bet, Jamie, or would you
no,
plain a
no, I
winner?
think I'm going to back her to win. I'm very
Love it.
confident, and but you should be confident, Delmar. I will stress that. Don't be confident, Delmar. It's not Churchill Downs. It's not Santa Anita. It's not oh geez, many of the places that in America. It's not Keeneland and all that. It's just so sharp. You have to be up at the front end. Godolphin love American winners, and yeah, Cinderella's Dream for me. So Liam, that wraps it up. I'm Cinderella's Dream as my nap. I think my each way or nap after on the dirt. I think Fierceness has a right chance in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Your nap and next best for the weekend.
So I think that Sovereignty is going to come out of the Breeders' Cup Classic. So I'm going to basically take you on in both my nap and each way, mate. So Forever Young as an each way bet as my nap at 8 to 1. If you can still get the Ante-Post rules about that, and yeah, Bedtime Story. I really think that she's going to run a cracker in the same race that obviously Jamie has put his nap up in. So yeah, Bedtime Story in the filly and mare turf, the last race on the card on Saturday.
Perfect, Liam. Lads, we like to thank you all. We're up to 4,000, nearly 4,100 subscribers. We'd like to thank you all for the pain of a blackboard before when you put your nails down through a blackboard and it screeches and the flat is currently over. We're all National Hunt. We like to thank you all for watching us during the flat. We're 100% now National Hunt. We're doing a preview tomorrow night for Downright, Ascot, and Charlie Hall at Weatherby the weekend, joined by Alex Galpin from the Cheltenham Exchange as a special guest. I'll be looking forward to that. Liam, anything to add? Are you looking forward to that?
Yes, can't wait. Cannot wait. I'm looking forward to this weekend. There's too much of it and too
Mm.
many clashes, but I'm sure we'll get onto that tomorrow. But no, I'm looking forward to this weekend. Every weekend from now on's a good one, isn't it, Jay?
So you like and subscribe to the channel, and thank you all for following us through the whole flat season. Roll on the jumps, and good luck, and we'll see you tomorrow night from all of us at the Ginger Show Racing Show.